Listen very carefully. Right now, as you walk through the city or scroll through your feed, you are being lied to. We live in a world governed by a social matrix that rewards the appearance of success while quietly punishing the accumulation of actual wealth. You've seen her. She's at the red light next to you in a pristine white Mercedes GLE. She's wearing oversized designer sunglasses and carrying a bag that costs more than your first car. To the outside world, she has made it. She is the blueprint of success. But here is the glitch in the matrix. Her bank account currently holds exactly $47. She is one missed paycheck away from total collapse. In the industry, we call this financial performance art. Millions of people are currently mortgaging their 50s and 60s to pay for the applause of strangers in their 20s. Today, I am going to show you how to pull back the curtain. We are going to deconstruct the 10 fatal signs of a fake rich profile. This isn't just about judging others. It's about auditing yourself. By the end of this video, you will understand the status tax you might be paying without even knowing it. And I'll show you how to hack the system to build a fortress of wealth that doesn't need a logo to prove it exists. The first and most common sign of the status matrix is what I call the Logo Siphon. This is the entry-level luxury trap. Have you ever noticed that the most visible, loud, and logo-heavy items from a luxury brand are always their cheapest? A high-end fashion house like Gucci or Louis Vuitton knows exactly how the matrix works. They produce a $4,000 handmade leather coat with no visible branding for their tier 1 clients, the people who actually have the money. But they also produce a $500 canvas belt with a massive gold-plated good game buckle. Why? Because the belt is the identity tax. The person buying that belt isn't buying quality. They're buying a billboard that shouts, "I can afford this brand." They want the badge without having the budget. When you see someone covered in loud repeating patterns and massive logos, you aren't looking at wealth. You are looking at someone who has paid a premium to become a walking advertisement for a company that doesn't know they exist. Real wealth is found in the texture of the fabric, not the name on the tag. Real wealth whispers, only insecurity screams. The second sign is linguistic. Pay attention to how people talk about their money. The fake rich always live in the future tense. I've got a massive deal closing next month. Once my crypto hits a certain number, I'm buying the penthouse. I'm working on a project that's going to change everything. This is a psychological compensation mechanism because their current reality is filled with debt, stress, and hollow accounts. They must project a future where they are finally arrived. They use the possibility of future wealth to justify current overspending. They are spending projected ROI before the investment has even matured. In the lab, we look at the data. If your lifestyle is funded by money you haven't actually touched yet, you are living in a simulation. The matrix loves the future tense because it keeps you passive. It allows you to feel the dopamine of being a millionaire without doing the boring work of actually becoming one. If someone can't stop talking about what they are about to have, it's usually because they have absolutely nothing right now. There is a specific type of arrogance that only exists in the middle-class status trap. I call it the Condescension Mask. You've met this person. You tell them you're happy with your reliable, paid-off Toyota. Instead of being happy for your financial freedom, they look at you with a mixture of pity and advice. They say things like, "You know, Rob, a man in your position should really be driving something that reflects your success. You're leaving money on the table by not projecting the right image." What they are actually doing is trying to recruit you into their cult of debt. If you are comfortable being frugal, you represent a threat to their narrative. Your pragmatism makes their $1,200 monthly car payment look like the mistake it actually is. They aren't giving you financial advice. They are trying to validate their own insecurities by forcing you to make the same mistakes they did. Someone who is genuinely wealthy doesn't care what kind of car you drive. They are too busy looking at their own balance sheets to worry about the optics of your garage. Let's get into the hard math. This is where the matrix really starts to siphon your future wealth. Let's look at the 30% leak. A person pretending to be rich typically spends 20% to 30% of their gross income on status maintenance. This includes high interest leases on European cars, designer clothing on credit cards, and expensive dinners they can't afford. Now, imagine two people, Alex and Ben. Both earn $100,000 a year. Alex lives in the Matrix. He spends $30,000 a year on looking the part. He has the car, the watch, and the clothes. Ben ignores the Matrix. He spends only 5% on his appearance and invests the other 25% into a low-cost index fund. Over 30 years, at an 8% return, that 25% difference doesn't just result in a few extra bucks. It results in a gap of over $3.5 million. Alex looks rich for 30 years and dies broke. Ben looks boring for 30 years and retires with a private island. The fake rich are literally burning their freedom in a giant bonfire of vanity. They are trading their autonomy for the temporary approval of people they don't even like. We cannot talk about the modern Matrix without discussing the digital stage. This is the fifth sign, the curated life. In the physical world, wealth is tangible. You can feel the real estate. You can see the brokerage account. In the digital world, wealth is a set of pixels. To the fake rich, an experience doesn't exist unless it is documented, filtered, and uploaded. I've seen people go to a 5-star hotel, spend 2 hours taking photos by the pool, and then leave because they can't actually afford the room for the night. They are buying proof of life for an audience of strangers. When someone's social media feed is an endless parade of first-class seats and VIP tables, but they don't have a single photo of a book, a spreadsheet, or a work session, they are performing. Real wealth is often incredibly boring. It's Saturday mornings spent reading. It's Sunday evenings spent planning the week. It's a spreadsheet that no one ever sees. If the like-to-debt ratio on someone's Instagram is high, their actual net worth is almost certainly low. They are slaves to the algorithm, and the algorithm is a hungry god that demands your entire future as a sacrifice. The sixth sign is the leasing loophole. The banking industry has created a perfect trap for the status-obsessed, the luxury car lease. Leasing is the most expensive way to operate a vehicle over a lifetime. You are essentially paying for the steepest part of the depreciation curve the first 3 years and then giving the car back with zero equity. You are paying for the privilege of never owning anything. The Matrix loves this because it creates perpetual debt. The fake rich love it because it allows them to fit a $90,000 BMW into a $900 monthly budget. They look at the monthly payment instead of the total cost of ownership. If you see someone who is always in a brand new car but never seems to own their home, they are caught in the leasing loophole. They are renting their identity from the bank, and the bank is laughing all the way to the vault. Real wealth is about owning assets that appreciate. Fake wealth is about renting assets that depreciate. Let's talk about the counterfeit goods sign. This is a deep psychological red flag. When someone carries a fake designer bag or wears a replica watch, they aren't just lying to the world, they are lying to themselves. They are essentially admitting, I want to be in the club so badly that I am willing to carry a physical manifestation of a lie. But here's the irony of the Matrix. The people who actually know luxury can spot a fake from across the room. They see the slightly off-center stitching, the wrong leather grain, the tinny sound of the watch movement. So the fake rich aren't even impressing the people they want to impress. They are only tricking people who don't know any better. Carrying a fake is a signal of a shortcut mindset. It says you want the result without the process. It says you value the image of success more than the character required to achieve it. In the lab, we know that character is the foundation of wealth. If your confidence is built on a $50 knockoff from a street corner, your financial house is built on sand. The eighth sign is the constant promotion of slightly faster schemes. Fake rich people are obsessed with the next big thing. They are always in a new multi-level marketing scheme. a new revolutionary crypto coin, or a secret Forex trading bot. They aren't interested in the 7% to 10% annual returns of the stock market. That's too slow. That doesn't fund the lifestyle they want today. They promote these opportunities to their friends and family with intense, unearned confidence. They act like they've found a glitch in the matrix that the elites don't want you to know about. But look closer. 6 months later, they've moved on to something else. They have a trail of failed ventures behind them that they never acknowledge. Real wealth is built through the boring compounding of time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. If someone is constantly pitching you a way to skip the line, it's because they are desperately trying to find a way to pay off the credit card debt they accumulated while pretending they were already at the finish line. The 9th sign is being asset rich on paper, but a liquidity ghost. In the Matrix, people love to talk about the value of their stuff. My house has appreciated by $200K. My car is a collector's item. But when it comes time to pay for dinner, they have to check which credit card isn't maxed out. They have zero liquidity. Actual wealth is liquid. It's the ability to write a check for an emergency without breaking a sweat. The fake rich are one car repair or one broken tooth away from a financial crisis. They are all hat and no cattle. They have the $5,000 watch, but don't have $5,000 in an emergency fund. When you prioritize the purchase of illiquid status symbols over liquid safety nets, you are giving the system total control over your life. You have no leverage. You are forced to stay in a job you hate because you have to fund the ghost of your wealth. Real wealth is the freedom to walk away. Fake wealth is a gilded cage. Finally, the 10th and most definitive sign, the loudness principle. Real wealth is quiet. Why? Because it doesn't need your approval. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same gray t-shirt because he has more important things to do than decide which logo makes him look successful. Warren Buffett still lives in the house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He still drives a modest car and eats a $4 breakfast from McDonald's. The fake rich are loud because they are insecure. They need the external validation of your wow to fill the internal void of their zero. They overdress for casual events. They use too much cologne. They talk too loudly about their connections. If you find yourself in a room with a guy in a tailored suit with a $50K watch and another guy in a hoodie and flip-flops, and you don't know who is richer, bet on the guy in the hoodie. The man who has truly arrived doesn't need to announce his arrival. He just is. Before we wrap up, we have to ask why. Why is the Matrix so effective at tricking us into this behavior? It's hardwired into our biology. For thousands of years, high status meant better access to resources and better chances of survival. Our brains are designed to seek status. But the modern financial system has weaponized that biological drive. It has disconnected status from survival and connected it to consumption. The bank doesn't want you to be a billionaire. A billionaire is a deadbeat. They pay their bills in full and never pay interest. The bank wants you to be a payer. They want you in that 640 to 680 credit score range where you are responsible enough to make payments, but insecure enough to want a car you can't afford. You are being manipulated by a dopamine loop. You buy the bag, you get the high of the purchase and the likes on the photo, and then the high fades. To get it back, you need the next purchase. This is the status treadmill, and the faster you run, the more the Matrix profits from your labor. So, how do you exit? How do you stop performing and start building? It starts with a values audit. Open your bank statement from the last 90 days. I want you to look at every single transaction and ask one question. Did I buy this for me or did I buy this for them? If you bought it because you genuinely love the craftsmanship and it fits into your long-term plan, keep it. But if you bought it because you wanted to look a certain way in a specific room, you have identified a leak. Here is the Rob's Money Lab cheat code, inverse status signaling. Try to look less successful than you actually are. Drive the car that's a few years older than you can afford. Wear high-quality, unbranded clothing. When you stop spending money to prove you have it, you suddenly find that you actually have it. Invest the status tax. Take that $400 a month you were going to spend on a luxury lease upgrade and put it into an appreciating asset. Do that for 10 years. By the time the fake rich people in your life are facing a retirement crisis, you will be sitting on a mountain of capital that gives you the only thing that actually matters: total sovereignty. We are back at that red light. The white Mercedes is still there. The driver is still checking her phone, looking for that next hit of digital approval. She looks like she's winning, but you now know the code. You see the iron chains of debt wrapped around those gleaming rims. You see the shadow tax she is paying every single second. Real wealth isn't about what you can buy. It's about what you can ignore. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing that if the Matrix crashed tomorrow, you would still be standing. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever caught yourself paying the status tax? What was the purchase you made solely to impress others that you now regret? Or, on the flip side, what is the boring asset you own that gives you the most pride? Tell your story in the comments. I read every single one because this community is about waking up and taking back our power. If this video helped you see through the noise, share it with one friend who needs to hear the truth. Your income is your choice, but your status is your prison unless you know the rules. My name is Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.